What's up everyone, Joseph with JTech Apple here, and today I'm here to do a comparison between the iPhone 5 and the iPod Touch 5th generation. So the specs on these devices are the iPhone 5, which is on the left, features an A6 dual-core 1.3 GHz processor with 1 GB of RAM, while the iPod Touch 5th generation features most of the similar specs on the iPhone 4S, which is an A5 processor, dual-core clocked at 800 MHz and 500 MB of RAM. And so overall in the iPod Touch 5th generation, it did get a pretty good spec improvement, and the iPhone 5 in terms of its benchmarks really is much more powerful device than the previous generation iPhone 4S. So the first test we're going to run is Geekbench. It doesn't really matter which device finishes first, but what we're trying to see here is the overall benchmark hardware score on both these devices. As you can see, it lists a score on both of them. I'm going to go ahead and hit the benchmark score and skip to the part where the final score comes out. So they have finally finished their benchmark score. The final results are here. The iPhone 5 finished significantly faster, but that's not what matters. The score is what matters. The iPhone 5 scores an impressive score of 1,644, which is somewhere up there between the top of the line smartphones on the market, just around in between the Samsung Galaxy S3, both the North American and the international version. It matches up, blends in somewhere around where those scored. The iPod Touch 5th generation, meanwhile, scored 623, which is somewhere around where the iPhone 4S scored in the 600s. So it is pretty expected that the specs came out, but let's go ahead and do some real-life testing to see if there is really a difference between these two devices. So I'm going to do a speed test while these devices are connected on the same network. We're going to start out with the iPhone 5. We're going to do the test one at a time to keep it fair here in terms of the bandwidth. So let's just go ahead and hit the begin test. So the iPhone 5 finished the test really fast with some pretty impressive scores on Wi-Fi at 17 milliseconds ping, a 41 megabits per second download speed, and a 4.83 megabits per second upload speed. So now let's open up the speed test on the iPod Touch 5th generation and run the test for that. So now the iPod Touch 5th generation has completed the Wi-Fi test as well. I had to switch them both onto the same servers. They're both running on the Linwood server, and it scored about the scores I expected that I did see on the iPhone 4S of anywhere between 14 and 15 megabits per second download speed and an upload speed usually around 4.86 to 5. So depends who's going to be using these devices, but 13 is a pretty good speed on Wi-Fi, while 40 is more for somebody who needs those really fast download speeds. But in terms of web browsing, you shouldn't see a huge difference between these speeds, as 13 is a very good score. So now that we've done the Wi-Fi speed test, the statistics, let's do what would probably make sense to do, a Safari speed test. So I'm going to type in iPad on both the devices. Okay, so I'm going to turn over here and hit search for both of them. At the same time, the iPhone 5 finished just a split second faster than the iPod Touch 5th generation, just like what we saw between the test on the iPhone 5 and the iPhone 4S. Let's go ahead and open up the website and see which one opens up faster. So again, there really isn't a huge difference. These are both very fast devices. So I have to say, for the Wi-Fi speed test, the iPhone 5 obviously did win that, but there really isn't a huge difference. Now let's go ahead and check out the applications and see which one can load faster. I'm going to open up the App Store on both the devices as well as do a camera test, and we can take a look at which one can open up faster. So I've got the App Store there. Now let's go ahead and tap both of them. So the iPhone 5 is a split second faster. Again, not a huge difference. Let's go ahead and turn to the iTunes Store. Once again, the iPhone 5 is a tiny bit faster, but like we expected, there isn't a huge difference. So the last test I'm going to run is the camera test to see which one can bring up its camera shutter faster. Yep, once again, like I expected, the iPhone 5 is a split second faster than the iPod Touch 5th generation, but like I said, there isn't really a huge difference. So overall, what do I think? The iPhone 5 is a device that has a lot of potential. It's processor scored a very high score, and it has a 1 GB of RAM. But at this point, for its everyday tasks and default applications, you won't really see a huge difference in terms of the speed difference. It's really up to what the developers want to do with this. I'm pretty sure you will see a gaming difference, but not really a huge difference. So the iPhone 5 is a very powerful device, but the iPod Touch 5th generation, which isn't necessarily a really even competition between the iPhone 5, still scored very close with its competitor, and it's still definitely an amazing device. So thanks for watching. This is just a speed test between the iPhone 5 and the iPod Touch 5th generation.